So first I want to talk a little bit about how I work with SMEs. It depends on a few things, what my job is, context, and then who the person is. In my role as an instructional designer, I see a really wide range of ID projects. Sometimes I'm in on a new course from the beginning. For example, right now we have a lot of new gen eds coming out, so I'm helping with that. It's mostly going to meetings and making recommendations for course layout, assignments, educational technology to use, and then building out the course on Moodle. Then sometimes I'm helping move a face-to-face class online. Again, it depends on the instructor. Some have everything they want to do all planned out and they feel comfortable. Then it's mostly making recommendations. Some are like, I've never taught online, I don't know what to do. Then there's a lot more hand-holding. And then some are like, I don't like this class, I want it to be different, go make it good. Then I do a lot more coming up with objectives and assessments, activities, external resources. It just kind of depends. If I'm working on a full course build though, I'm working on it from beginning to end. I don't just make a shell and then voila, here you go. I make a shell, then I'm still involved for the actual delivery. And the amount of involvement, again, depends on the instructor and if it's a new course or not. But generally, I'm checking in on things once a week or so. I also do a fair amount of coaching in the instructional design part of my job. Since that part is to support faculty, I always show them how to do things. I'll often fix it for them first, especially if it's something urgent, i.e. student-facing and preventing students from getting work done. But then I always tell and show them how to fix it themselves. For example, if they forward me a student email that says, I can't see my group's discussion forum, I go into Moodle and fix it. Then I email the instructor saying that I fixed it and here's what's going on and here's what to do. I've started replying to a lot of these types of emails with screencasts, actually. I don't worry about the quality of the screencast. I only do one shot, but then I show them what to do. And it takes maybe 5 minutes. But still, when I'm in the office, since I usually work from home 1 to 2 days a week, when I'm in the office the next day, I make a point to go to the instructor's office and follow up with, did my video make sense? Is it working now? That kind of thing. And then a lot of the time, a little trick I use is I only fix the problem on one thing in Moodle, the thing that's due this week. But then if there's a similar assignment or activity later in the course, I don't fix the problem on that one. But then when I'm in the instructor's office the next day, I have them show me how to fix it. For example, adding rubrics. I had an instructor ask me to change a rubric I had on an assignment in Moodle the other day. So I did my usual process of fix for the thing that students can see, send screencast instructions for how to do it, and say I only added the rubric on the first in this series of assignments. The other ones still need rubrics. Then the next day I went into the instructor's office and was like, okay, did that make sense? Why don't you go ahead and add a rubric to the assignment next week? Then she was in the driver's seat, so to speak, created the rubric while I was there to answer any questions. I try not to intervene unless they ask a direct question. It's kind of like the usability testing that we did this past week. I need the instructor to be able to do whatever it is, add rubric, fix grades, etc., when I'm not there. So I'm not showing them what to do. That's what the screencast was for. I'm just watching. And for some of the instructors that are afraid of doing something wrong and blowing up their whole course, they just want somebody there that won't let that happen. Then once they've done it with me there, they feel more comfortable to do it when I'm not there. And then the best is if you can then have that instructor teach one of the other instructors how to do X. Because the original instructor then gets that much better, right? Because when you teach something, you really have to know it. And then they're spreading the knowledge. And for me, working at WU, where there's approximately one instructional designer per 1,000 faculty, I don't actually know that that's true, I can't do everything. Right, so I need to rely on faculty talking and teaching each other. And that's why I said how I interact with SMEs depends on what my job is. My job at WU, part of my job at WU is to support faculty. It's not just to create course shells. On the other hand, the other part of my WU job, the MarComm, marketing and communication part, my job for that is to create products. For example, I don't make a brochure and then tell the person who requested it how to use InDesign. Similarly, in my freelancing work, my job is to create a website. I create the website, but I don't then teach the client how to code. I will say, though, there are a few exceptions to this. One is if the client asks how to do something. For example, a few months ago, I had a client ask me to sit down and teach her how to use the scheduling software so she could handle the little scheduling/tech issues her customers had instead of having to forward their emails to me. So then, of course, I showed her how to do that. Or if you get the sense that the client wants to do something themselves but just doesn't know how. For example, right now I have a WU person who's asked me to make basically an electronic invitation to a conference that she can send out via email. Now I'm going to do it, but I got the sense that she was like, I'd like to just do it myself because, well, she wants something pretty informal. It's the first conference, so she's kind of the only one who knows the real vision, and she also wants something done pretty fast. Now, like I said, I'm going to make her something, but when I deliver it, I'm also going to say something like, if you want to make something like this in the future, you can check out canva.com. They've got tons of templates that make this sort of thing super easy. But of course, I always want people to know that they can come to me if they need to or want to. I don't want anybody to feel like they can't ask me to do something. Okay, so that's a little bit on how I work with a variety of SMEs. And then I'll also share a little bit about my kind of general approach. You can see a lot of my beliefs about instructional design represented in this course. For example, I believe visual design is of critical importance. I believe empathy is step one. That is removing whatever constructs I have and trying to put myself in the other person's shoes. But so do I know a lot of people were wondering about theories and models. Do people actually use them? And I would say I don't use them in a formal way. But I know that a lot of my approach is based on concepts from design thinking. And in practice, this mostly means asking why to everything. If you're ever going along and something's not quite right, ask yourself why you're doing something. For example, I was designing this brochure to market the new online deaf program. And I put in this table for a program plan. And I was looking at the design and it just wasn't working for me. So I was like, wait, why do I have this table in here? What purpose am I serving? The users of the design are not that close to being actual students. So it's probably more useful to just give an overview of what the program has. So that's what I did instead. And sometimes you need somebody else to come in and ask the whys for you. For example, when I have Brendan, my significant other, look over the content that I publish for this course, sometimes he'll be like, why are you telling students this? Are they actually supposed to do something with this information? Or are you just going off on your own rant? And I'm like, oh, yes, I am. Okay, I'll delete that part. So sometimes it's asking why to yourself or having somebody else ask why to you. But sometimes it's asking why to your SMEs or instructors. I think the purpose of the why asking is to make sure you're getting at the question behind the question. It's kind of like the why, how ladders that we did. So I'll give you an example. I had an instructor ask me how to change the forum display setup because it was too hard to grade the way it was currently set up. So first I showed her how to change the forum display settings, because one of the worst things you can do is not answer somebody's question, even if you know that they're not really asking the right question. But then I was also like, if your goal is to have an easier time seeing who's responded and who hasn't, maybe you want to turn on activity tracking or display the forum in a threaded view or use the advanced search feature. So I answered her question, but then I also gave her some additional information that might answer the question that she's not asking, but is maybe getting at the question behind the question. Then, like I said, another part of design thinking that I really try and practice is empathy. Empathy with the end user, so the students or the customers, and empathy with the SME, so the instructor or the client. And I find that when I'm helping develop curriculum, when there are multiple instructors involved, I have to be more of an advocate for the students. I'll sometimes be in a meeting and be like, wait a second, so you're asking students to do this health assessment survey so you can evaluate the effectiveness of your course, but then what good is that for the students, right? If the goal is for them to learn something about their health history, then it's probably not going to happen as a result of taking a survey. Maybe there's something else we should do. And then with the instructors, having empathy with them means a lot of times being patient. Sometimes the teachers are panicked that they'll disappoint their students or break their course, and they just need somebody to reassure them. I think they also like to feel like you're not judging them. And the only real way for that to work is to actually not judge them. Don't try and fake it. Remember all the less than perfect things you've done, all the well, duh mistakes you've made. It's a partnership. There needs to be mutual respect. So that's my 2 cents. We'll be hearing from 5 other instructional designers in the ID panel on Wednesday. So I hope to see, doing air quotes, see you there.